Welcome back. One of the more controversial pieces of legislation this past year was the bill that will give tax rebates to families who put their kids in private school between $5,000 and $7,500 a student. Families who homeschool can also now receive up to $1,000 a student. This was a bill pushed by school choice advocates. It was a priority for Governor Stitt, but I know the idea was one that many in public schools, including smaller rural school districts, were very nervous about going into this. And as we bring back our superintendents here, we do have in Shawnee their new superintendent, Dr. Aaron Espelt. Is there any concern, being a more rural district? We certainly heard it ahead of this with the school choice and the different types of options. Is there any concern that this new rule and the tax rebate will impact negatively your school district?
Well, you know, we always want public dollars in public schools. That's what we always want. But I will say this. At Shawnee, our whole vision, everything that we do and how we speak and how we interact with our stakeholders is honoring your choice. And that's on so many different levels, whether that's the choice of a student, choice of a teacher, choice of a parent, choice of a community member. We believe in choice, and we believe that Shawnee is the right choice, and we respect that. So we honor that parent's choice when they make that and send their student to Shawnee, and we encourage them to engage with us, and we engage with them on a deep level, and we call it filling their cup. So we don't just expect for this people who live in I-93 within our district just to send their kids to the school and all is going to be well. We expect a deep engagement. We expect that when we have their student, we fill their cup and give back to them as well as to the parent. So we honor the parent's choice because we believe that they have many options. They have the option to keep them at home. They have the option to send them to a virtual charter school or to a private school. And we support those parent choices. And when they choose Shawnee, we keep that in a very high regard, and we know that they are sending their most valued possession to us, and we're going to honor that choice by filling their cup.
Because, as you pointed out, there's already been school choice in Oklahoma. Sure. in a lot of ways. It's the new tax rebate, I
Sure.
think. Now, there was another option that was proposed before that, where it would actually be, it wouldn't be in a rebate form. It would be in a different way. Is the bill that was passed, is it more digestible from a public school leadership perspective, the fact that it is a tax rebate, or does it not change the equation in any way? Dr. Migliorino?
And I'm going to concur over here. School choice has always been around. We've never needed the legislature to tell us or tell families they can choose to do what they want to do and how they educate their kiddos. The way the legislature passed this, I don't really have an opinion on it. It is what it is. It's an initiative that no matter what, they were going to get through the legislature one way or another. End of the day, going back to public dollars, public schools, and if this is the case, then hold everybody to the same standard is kind of my perspective on things, whether it's test scores or teacher certifications or go down the list of things that we're required to do, accreditation. Hold everybody to the exact same standard, and then maybe I think it would be a little more palatable for public dollars to go other places, but I say maybe a little bit more palatable. But end of the day, it's not a level playing field. It is not. We accept every kid that comes to Norman Public Schools. We're going to accept them. We're going to serve them in whatever way we want. When it's a school of choice, they get to choose whether they're going to accept them as well, and that's something that I believe needs to be, have more conversation around if they're accepting public dollars.
So one of the things that always jumps out to me, that it seems like it's always ignored, but because it's about, we'll help these kids that are in low performing schools, or they're in poor schools, or in, they may be a free reduced kid in whatever district. This will help them get to these private schools that will really educate them and take them over the top. Those aren't the kids that it's going to help. We'll be real honest about this. Those aren't the kids who parents struggle to get them up and get them to school or get them to the bus stop, have struggles getting clothes, and they're on free and reduced lunch. They can take advantage of that tax credit, but all the other stuff that they have to pay for, transportation, uniforms, meals, all the stuff that public schools provide, they're not going to be able to afford that. So I guess the question that a lot of us struggle with is, who is it really helping? Is it helping the people? And again, I'm like Dr. Millerino. It's not that we're not opposed to private schools. Nobody is. But let's be real about why this is happening and who it's really going to help. I have kids in my district that I see every day. There's no way that the tax credit that they would get, it wouldn't even provide them a vehicle to take their kids to school. So, I mean,
Well-
let's be honest about the advertising.
And imagine how much better public schools could be if we actually received the money that they were receiving, right? If the $250 million that's designated to go to the voucher program actually was dispersed back amongst public schools, then we can get better, right? We can provide those improved opportunities. But when we are essentially funded by the zip code,
And last.
in which are at last in the nation and all of that, but even on top of that, if 73111, where Millwood is located, is one of the lowest income areas in the state, and a portion of our funding, right, doesn't even match Oklahoma City or Middale that totally surrounds us. And so we already have a difference in how we're funded just based on zip codes. So imagine what would happen if you actually gave back to public schools who aren't funded. I don't want to say like Edmond because they get picked on. I want to say like UConn.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Has anybody seen a drop in enrollment, or have you noticed any sort of dip or a greater interest in students leaving public schools for private since this has been
Not yet.
announced?
Well, we don't think we will. Well, we think that the formula is that the $250 million is a subsidy for those who are already in private schools. It subsidizes their tuition.
So you're saying it's helping the kids who are already going to be there anyway?
The kids
Correct.
who can afford to be there
The gates,
right now.
the gates in our districts are not going to swing wide open and suddenly we lose hundreds and thousands of kids. Our kids like our neighborhood schools. They want to be there. If they didn't want to be there, they still have too many roadblocks to get somewhere else, as has been mentioned. But this is simple. This is subsidize private schools and their families, and we retain our kids, and we get $250 million transferred over to the private schools. I mean,
This is
I've talked to a couple of headmasters of the private schools in our area, and they already had waiting lists. So they aren't bringing in new students because this law passed. It's going to the students they already had.
and they have total discretion on who they can allow to come in and who they can say no to at the door. So
Precisely.
even if I could get transportation and I worked things out and I figured out the difference between the $7,500 and the $12,000 that it costs, I figured all that out, and I go to the front door, they have sole discretion to say we're full, or they don't have to give you a reason. You just can't come to school here. So a lot of concerns about it, but we're not losing kids because of a tax credit program. Finally, remember that tax credit is reimbursable. So our poor kids, if those are the ones that they're targeting, have to come up with the money first up front and then receive it in a credit on the back end.
And then file taxes to get it back.
Right. So as Dr. Millerino said, this ship sailed the first week of session. So this was going to happen. We now, in our jobs, we deal with it. That's the rule of the road, and we deal with it. And we work it out.
Let me take a hard left turn here and just ask you about COVID. Obviously, major topic the last couple times we got together before the school year. This year, not as much for obvious reasons. But now that it's a little bit farther behind us and we can kind of take a bit of a 30,000-foot view, do we think, and Dr. Cobb, I'll ask you here, do we think that the impact on students academically and socially was more or less than what we thought it was going to be as we were maybe going through it and making decisions?
I think we were making decisions in real time, and I don't know about anyone else, but I wasn't really projecting the future. If there's something I've learned since the beginning of COVID, it's not to try to predict human behavior anymore, ever again. But for us, it's, we've done a little math on this.
Okay.
Our enrollment dropped at the beginning of COVID by several thousand. The next year, 2,000 of those students came back. So we had a group of students that left and came back. We looked at test scores from the students that were with us as third graders in 2019 and they tested. And then we looked at that same group of kids and matched them with a test score from 2022. So it would have been a 6th grade test score. So the kids that stayed with us had less than 1% drop in their scales. And all of our teachers are pretty good in this range. This is a lot more challenging. And the social emotional learning piece of it is also a huge challenge, because we heard from law enforcement agencies, from social workers, that what was happening in homes during the pandemic when kids were at home more than usual, it just created a lot of new trauma issues for our students. And so we're adjusting to all of that.
That's great. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to be right back right after this.